We are conservatives, but we are nonpartisan and we do not support any one party or person. So first, some announcements. There's food in the other room for afterwards. Come on by and enjoy, and you have a chance to talk together and with the candidates. Next, we have some tag t-shirts for the Political Action Tour of 2022 of the events that have been going on and will be going on through the rest of the year. And also we have a donation bowl at the door. If you appreciate what you've seen and experienced here, the donations will go towards town halls. It does take several $100s to put this on, and we do have another one coming in 2 weeks. Our next event concerns education and the schools K through 12. We have experts coming into town for a town hall that will be here in the courthouse. One of the speakers has appeared on national news programs. She will discuss the government funds that came into the schools during COVID and any strings that are attached to it. And the other speaker will cover the mental health emphasis in the schools now and the agenda called Social Emotional Learning, SEL. It seems our students are going to be having regular daily mental health checks, which will be reported. And the SEL agenda will cover things, so they have 5 areas. 2 of them are self-awareness and self-management. To be self-aware, you need to examine your identity, which will include sexual and cultural, as well as your biases. And to have self-management is being extended to define things like practicing anti-racism. The announcements were in this week's newspaper. They're also on Facebook, and they're on the radio. Now, concerning our candidates. The next sheriff is going to be working closely with the new criminal court judge, and Fentress County will be voting one in as Judge Sexton is retiring. I hope you know that the last 2 judges were in office for 48 years, so the next judge could be in for quite a long time. So we hope that you will take a look at the video that was done there. You can find it on WDEB Facebook, on our Facebook, or if you go onto our website, there's a link so that you don't have to go on Facebook if you do not do that. And our brochures on the back of the room, which will have our website information. Together, we understand that you may not have contact with a criminal court judge or plan on having contact with them, but together, the next sheriff and judge will have many issues to consider together. If you look at the Second Amendment, our federal Supreme Court just shot down a New York law concerning concealed carry in New York, which will affect us. And they were trying to say that with concealed carry, you had to prove that you needed to have it, that you suspected you were going to need it in some way. And the Supreme Court said, no, that's not part of the Second Amendment. They shot it down. Good. So then what happened was our federal politicians turned around and immediately voted in a gun control law, which contains things called red flag laws. And these does 3 things. 1, this includes tougher background checks for buyers younger than 21, including mental health checks. This is a waiting period that gives authority to the federal government that it does not have. As a matter of fact, the federal government was challenged a few years ago by a sheriff in Utah when they made a law that said, you have to do background checks on guns now, and he said, no, I don't. And luckily, the NRA was looking for a front man, and they sued the federal government, and they won. They went up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, no, you cannot make a federal law until the local sheriff who takes an oath to his Constitution and his citizens. Very interesting. Number 2, those funds also include $15 billion in federal funding for, this is a red flag for guns, mental health programs, as well as security upgrades in schools. That's good. Number 3 is funding to encourage states to implement red flag laws to remove firearms from people considered a threat. So what is a threat? Well, we've seen that our government, state and federal, are attempting to invade our constitutional liberties and marginalize us by calling us terrorists. This past year, parents were termed domestic terrorists by the FBI because they protested at their local school boards concerning pornographic books in grade school. And if you did not see pictures and words in those books, I'm telling you, they were pornographic. It was not sex education. It was gutter pornography. So now these people are a threat. As far back as 2003, the U.S. Department of Justice linked terrorists with mental health issues. So does a parent have a mental health issue to want to protect his or her child? Even now, the January 6 detainees are called insurrectionists, even though by definitions there were no weapons. As to have an insurrection, you have to have weapons. The FBI has admitted there were no weapons January 6. But what we're seeing is that definitions are being refashioned, and mental health is now becoming an issue. Now, what role our sheriff and how the criminal courts will function with this, we don't really fully know yet. It's not really defined. But we know that I'm not sure that we want courts defining mental health issues and tasking our sheriffs inappropriately. Based on the last 2 years, we really can't guess where it's going or what the politicians will do. So this evening we have 4 candidates. On the far side is Rodney Insko. Then we have Michael Bigfoot Reagan. We have Max Goodpaster and Gary Goose Ledbetter. They'll all be asked several questions, and they'll have 2 to 3 minutes to answer. I think many of you know if you have a question, please write it down. There's pen and paper in the back, and someone will pick that question up from you. We have a moderator. His name is Bobby Dom. He's retired law enforcement. He will be asking the questions, and the candidates all know Bobby. I've met with him. And Mr. Brian Gregg, who's also retired law enforcement, is going to be our timekeeper, just to help them keep on time with their allotted time. So again, we thank you for attending. And Bobby, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Ann. I appreciate the nice introduction. I just want to say that TAG people asked me to read the questions tonight because we have free food afterwards. So, are you not hearing me? Unless, okay. Well, it kind of ruined my joke, but I said, TAG people asked me to read the questions to the candidates, and I agreed to only because they have free food tonight. So there's plenty of free food. I'll stay close to the mic so you can hear me. And here we go. So just one other thing I want you to remember. I asked the questions. These are formed from a committee. I just ask them. So please don't shoot the piano player. You know you guys got guns over there. So. Okay. Anyway, welcome to you all. I will call on you using your whole name because many of the people do not know who you all are. Okay, so if you have a nickname, we're going to use all those names to make sure people know who you are. Okay, so we will start with a 2-minute opening and rotate with each question in order. So we will start with Rodney Insko. Feel free to stand up or talk into the mic, I guess.
It won't take me 2 minutes to introduce myself. My name's Rodney B. Insko. I'm a senior. I'm 51 years old, just turned 51 in June. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a grandfather. I've adopted a 2-year-old baby boy. Just got him in my house, got him adopted. I'm in the process of adopting his 7-month-old biological sister now. I live here in Jamestown. I've lived all my adult life here. Chose Jamestown as my home, Fentress County. That's pretty much all I have to say about myself. Turn it over to Michael.
Thank you. Next is Michael Bigfoot Reagan.
My name is Michael Bigfoot Reagan. A little joke there. They asked me today how come they call me Bigfoot. I said my foot's little. But anyway, tell you a little bit about myself. I got appointed sheriff in 2017. In 2018, I ran for office, got elected. I'm running again. I'm a candidate for sheriff again, and I'd appreciate the support and vote if I could get it. And I'll do the best job that I've done the last 5 years to help the people of the county. Thank you.
Thank you. The next is Max Goodpaster.
I am Max Goodpaster. I was raised here, raised my family here. Most of my family is here. I chose to run for this office for the people in the county. I've been halfway around the world and all over the United States, but there is no better people than the people right here in Fentress County. And I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. And next is Gary Goose Ledbetter.
Good afternoon. I'm Gary Goose Ledbetter, running for sheriff. I'd like to thank the Tennessee Action Group for putting this event on. First of all, I'd like to thank my family, I'd like to thank my friends, and I'd like to thank my supporters because they have really been behind me through this whole process. I never would have gotten this far if it hadn't been for them, and I want you all to know how much I appreciate them. Unlike Rodney, I'm an ex-husband. I am a father and a grandfather. And I guess the mic, is this mic on? Okay, go ahead. That's all I have to say. Carry on.
All right, thank you. Now we have the first question. What in your training and or experiences have prepared you to be sheriff? Since we started with Rodney, we now go to Michael Bigfoot Reagan. And again, the question is, what in your training and or experiences have prepared you to be sheriff?
My 28 years in law enforcement, actually 23 years of it has been here in Fentress County, right side by side with the citizens. I've only worked in 3 departments my entire career. I know, everybody makes mistakes along the way, as others will do, or have already done. Learning from those mistakes, adapting myself mentally and physically to overcome mistakes, all while holding true to my beliefs that honesty, integrity, and selfless service to the people I swore to protect. Most important expectations, one day being sheriff. 5 years ago, that became a reality. During the last 5 years, I've continued to follow those same beliefs, allowing me to successfully manage the sheriff's department. Of course, along the way, you'll be met with circumstances that no sheriff could foresee or control. The difference is by holding to my beliefs, always being honest and truthful with the people I swore to protect. It has given me trust, experience, knowledge, dedication, and pursuit of equal justice for all citizens of Fentress County. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, Max Goodpaster.
I think what has prepared me for the office of sheriff, in my 32 years in law enforcement, I have held several supervisor positions. I held command positions in the Tennessee National Guard. But I think what has best prepared me for this position is the desire to sit and talk with you, the people, to learn your needs, to learn your questions, your concerns, and your insight for what this department needs to do to move forward in the future. Because I believe you, the people, you run a department. You come to the sheriff with your ideas, and the sheriff needs to try his best to implement them ideas. So I think talking to the people and understanding you people and interacting better with the citizens, I think that's what would make me the best candidate for sheriff. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, Gary Goose Ledbetter.
I have 35 years experience in law enforcement. I have 25 years in leadership positions in law enforcement at the different agencies I've worked for. I've been interim sheriff. I've been chief deputy for 2 different sheriffs. I've been narcotics detective. I've been lead detective. I've been homicide detective. Several other positions. They're all on my website. There's a long list of all the positions I've held over the years. I've had training for all those positions, such as the Tennessee Sheriff School, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Detective School, bomb training, drug interdiction training, homeland security training, child sexual abuse training, and I have a whole list on my website also if you would like to check out all the training that I've had. The long story short is I've had more training, more experience than any other candidate in this race, and if you're looking for that, in my opinion, that's what you should be looking for, then I am the most qualified candidate in this race. Thank you.
Thank you. And just to repeat the question for Rodney Insko, what in your training and or experiences have prepared you to be sheriff?
I've got 20 plus years of law enforcement experience. I graduated Walter State Community College back in 2001. Started my career right after graduation. Took multiple specialized training courses, just like Gary was mentioning there, interview and interrogation, auto theft, advanced auto theft, drug interdiction, federally certified in seatbelt and child safety restraint installation. Got in over the last 2 decades. I've learned how to be more of a people type person, be able to empathize with people, show how to protect and serve, show respect toward people, and show leadership roles. As far as leadership roles I've held, I was a sergeant at the Baxter Police Department. Helped me hone in on my supervisor skills. I've also, over the course of my career, I've had 2 exceptional service awards, which I think would help as far as leading the sheriff's department.
All right, thank you. All right, we're ready for our next question. How would you define leadership? We'll start with Max Goodpaster. How would you define leadership?
To me, leadership is you need to understand the people around you. You have to listen to the people around you. You have to take their concerns into consideration for every decision you make. You have to make the right decisions, yes. But you lead by example. You encourage your people. You encourage your people to bring out the best in themselves. It's not about you. If you're leading people, it's not about you, it's about your people. You encourage your people to do the best they can possibly do. And if they hit a snag along the road, you bring your people in and you sit down and say, look, this happened. Next time let's try it this way. Keep encouraging them. If they mess up, fine. But you keep encouraging them to do the best that they can possibly do. And to me, that's what a good leader is for. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Goose Gary Ledbetter. How would you define leadership?
Leadership, in its simplest form, is a person, a man or a woman, who has a vision. And when they have this vision, they have the capability to get a group of people together, men and women together, and share that vision with them, and have them to follow that vision, have them to carry out that vision for them, carry out your so-called vision for what you want to do at the sheriff's department. And you got to create a good environment for these folks. Obviously, we all know police officers don't make a lot of money. So that being the case, you got to give them something else. You got to give them good equipment. You got to pat them on the back. You got to create that environment, because I don't care what anybody tells you, people don't quit their jobs because of money. Look at any survey you want. It rarely makes the top 10. People quit their job because of leadership or lack of leadership. And so you've got to have good leadership in the sheriff's department, or you'll never have a full staff and you'll never have a fully functioning sheriff's office. In my stint as chief deputy in Fentress County, a few years ago, we went 2 years that no deputy quit. We didn't have any deputy turnover for 2 years. So I know how I was supervising around 50 employees at that time. I know what leadership means. I know how to get it carried out. And I think that's what we need today at the Fentress County Sheriff's Office. Thank you.
Thank you. Next would be Rodney Insco. How would you define leadership?
I define leadership as someone who takes charge, who truly cares about the well-being of their team, someone that everyone can look toward in the event of a crisis, and kind of get some relief by that person being in the leadership position. Being available 24/7, no matter what time it is or who it is calling, whether it's somebody important or somebody that lives just down the street, being able to contact that person. Leadership is striving to be the best example for those you are leading, inspiring them to shoot toward the same goal you have. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, same question. How would you define leadership? Michael Bigfoot Reagan.
I believe leadership is defined by multiple fractions, starting with one's ability to successfully influence, motivate, and guide others as a team. It's also having the ability to make sound and often difficult decisions without hesitation in some instances. Leadership is further defined by the ability to create and achieve special goals through experience, training, knowledge, and dedication. But leadership is most importantly defined by the leader's ability to trust his or her people and always being open to new ideas, ways of doing things. Allowing the input or criticism on ideas or practices for the business of law enforcement is an ever-changing profession. A true leader always stands true to the belief that today's followers are tomorrow's leaders. Thank you.
All right. The next question is going to be, what programs would you like to eliminate, create, or continue? We'll start with Gary Goose Ledbetter, and it's what programs would you like to eliminate, create, or continue?
Well, obviously, I would keep the wood program. I would make some modifications to it. I would get the corruption out of it, but I would keep the wood program and get it to the actual needy, the actual elderly, or the disabled. I would get it to the folks who actually need it.
Mhm.
I would keep the lawn mowing problem where the sheriff made the comment that they mowed 13 county properties. That's great. We've got the manpower up there. We can supply it to save the taxpayers money. That program's fine. The garden program, of course, you got the manpower for that also. I would keep that. Grow food up there for the prisoners. So I would also keep that program. The new program I talked about earlier on was the contacting the elderly in the morning. Some people have taken that out of context. They think that's too big an undertaking. I was the baby of 5 kids, and my sister sitting there in the front row. They always told me to use a little elbow grease. But you can use some elbow grease. I'm talking about a very few people. I'm not talking about the folks that had their family, friends, or neighbors check on them. It's not those people. It's only the folks that are closed in by themselves. So we can get that done, folks, if we want to try. I talked about our drug problem. Folks, we don't have a drug problem. We have a drug addiction problem. Drug addiction is our major problem in this county. I've spoken about Manor House, how it work hand in hand with Manor House. And if you've not visited Manor House, you need to go visit it because they're absolutely doing God's work over there. I had no idea what they were doing or what they were all about until I went over there. Spoke to Billy this week about some new programs we can implement. And the physically and mentally disabled, we have to have more training for officers for physically, mentally disabled folks so we don't get hurt and they don't get hurt. And I had one more that's totally slipped my mind now. That does happen when you get old. But anyway, I think you gave me the 30-second signal anyway, so we'll leave it there.
All right, thank you. Just a note, I don't know if these microphones were made in China, but we need to get a little closer to them so people can hear you better. So I have this one pretty close. So if you guys could just get a little bit closer to the microphone. So next is Rodney Insko. And what programs would you like to eliminate, create, or continue?
Well, just like Gary said, the wood program and the garden program are both excellent programs. They're beneficial to the county and to the jail. The Christmas gift program is another program I would definitely keep. It gives children in the community a chance to interact with law enforcement in not a negative way. So that is definitely something else I would keep. And another thing, and I want to make this known to everybody, one of the candidates had said something about putting a stop to this. The out-of-county inmates that we house here in Fentress County and the TDOC inmates we house here in Fentress County are cash flow positive for Fentress County. It's a ridiculous statement to even say you would put a stop to that. that jail would bankrupt this county if we didn't house out-of-county prisoners. So that would be another program I would definitely keep. Pickett County alone pays over $150,000, and I think they've got right around 20, maybe 25 prisoners held here. So that's something that would definitely need to stay in place. Something I'd like to start, and I mentioned on this before, the drug problem in the county is a big problem. And you can arrest the street-level drug dealer, and he'll be right back out on the street. Manor House is doing a big courtesy to the county by helping with that. But if we don't educate our children on the drug problem, start in the elementary schools, the problem is going to continue. My wife brought this to my attention. She was in the DARE program when she was in elementary school, and you remember this. And she, in her early 20s, was offered drugs and turned them down because of that program. So when she was 10, 11, 12 years old and watching the DARE program and looking at the pictures and stuff, it is beneficial for this county. We definitely, regardless if I win or whoever wins, we need to start some sort of drug education in this county. And I'll end it right there.
Thank you. And next, Mike Bigfoot Reagan, what program would you like to eliminate, create, or continue?
I'd like to start out by saying there are multiple good programs that could be enacted, but we all know that programs cost money. And during the last few years with the COVID outbreak and the government shutdowns, the utilization of grant funds have been on the upscale. COVID put a hardship on every government agency in the country, and the use of grants to fund programs has been limited during these times. As for programs, I'd continue. One would be community service programs that the inmates of Fentress County perform for the public and government organizations, such as helping the food bank, more than there, like Gary said, 13 places. We do work for the school systems, painting, or anything that they need done. UCHRA is the one that helps us with the wood program, and I think it's good that we can have them out of working in the county anywhere, that anything that needs to be done to save the taxpayers' money. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And next, Max Goodpaster, what programs would you like to eliminate, create, or continue?
I would agree with the other candidates. I would definitely keep the garden program and the wood program. They are great tools, and they really help the citizens in the county that actually need them. I would like to, if possible, implement a litter crew. Somebody could take 2 or 3 and go out. Somebody calls in, somebody dumped a bunch of trash in Banner. Take a crew out there and go pick it up. Solid Waste does an amazing job, but they don't have the manpower to get everywhere. And that would help out too. If somebody dumps trash in front of your yard, you're not going to get out there and pick it up. And some people can't. If you're elderly or disabled, you can't pick it up. They could call and we could send a crew out to pick it up and clean it up. I would like to have, like Mr. Ledbetter said, I'd like to have more training for the mentally and the physically handicapped, especially the children, because a lot of times you don't know your child could be mentally disabled until they hit a certain stage. And if we can educate parents, the citizens, and the officers, then we could maybe solve a lot of problems that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question. How has your life changed or been affected personally from your experience in law enforcement? We'll start with Rodney Insko. How has your life been affected or changed personally from your experience in law enforcement?
See all this gray hair? That right there. Being in law enforcement for 20 plus years definitely changes a person. I'm much more empathetic and compassionate toward people because of my experiences. I think I listen to people a little better, try and understand what their problems are a little more, kind of take their problem as my own when I'm working with the people. Sorry about that. Through my career, I've been almost shot 3 times. So when I'm at home or when I'm at work, I'm always paying attention to what's going on around me. I hear things that my wife doesn't hear or my coworkers doesn't hear. Things sound different when you've been that close to being injured. So I guess that's pretty much when I go home at night and my wife's in a bad mood because of me being at work and seeing all I see, it's real easy to tell her she's right and I made a mistake and I won't do it again, sort of thing.
Thank you. Next, same question. How has your life changed or been affected personally from your experience in law enforcement? Michael Bigfoot Reagan.
Over the 28-year span of my career, I've had the opportunity to meet hundreds, if not thousands, of people. Through those encounters, my perspective on life changed. I was forced to see the reality of the hardships and the hurt that people go through daily. Many of us in this room have never known the hardships that some people go through till we see it firsthand. I decided years ago I wanted to not only help in that moment of hardship or need, but I wanted to make a difference in the people's lives I swore on oath to protect. Over the last 28 years, I believe I have held that true to just that. I've always been available to any member of the public and willing to help those in need in any way possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Max Goodpaster. How has your life changed or been affected personally from your experience in law enforcement?
We've all, just like Sheriff Reagan said, we have all seen things that we didn't want to see. But that was part of the job when we took the job, when we took that oath to protect and serve. Out of all those years and all the things that I've seen, I think that has helped me to better relate with different people, with all the people, and helped me to interact with the people. And it has helped me to realize there are certain ways that you deal with people. You don't deal with Mr. Ledbetter the same way you deal with Mr. Insco down there. Everybody's different. And I think all my years in law enforcement has helped me to disseminate how to deal with different people. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And again, how has your life changed or been affected personally from your experience in law enforcement? Gary Goose Ledbetter.
Well, to tell you how I've changed, I'd have to take you back 35 years ago when I started in law enforcement. Some of you in this room knew me then, and some of you don't. 35 years ago, I was 25 years old. All I wanted to be was a deputy. All I wanted to do is go to the academy, get that car, ride around. I mean, I was a real go-getter. I would ride around and look at my radio and want to know why they're not hollering at me to give me my next call. I mean, and you can tell what kind of deputy you're going to get. If you're a leader, you can tell. In the first 6 months, you can tell what kind of deputy you got. So that's all I wanted to do back then. And then I went to my first bad accident. And when I went to that accident, a 13-year-old girl was actually laying out on the ground dead when I got there. Her dad died on the way to UT, and her mom was the only one that lived. And they'd actually left the funeral home out here from his brother's death. So that almost made me back out at that time. But I stayed in it, I hung in there, and then I got to be a detective. And back then, when you were a detective in Fentress County, you were the only detective. So unfortunately, you had to work every death scene there was. And that's one thing I was not prepared for, of all the death I've seen over the years. And it changed me, because when I was 35 years ago, I was so young, I was so cocky, I couldn't live myself. I'm ashamed to say that now. I wish I could go back and change that, but I can't. But once I started seeing that and what really happens to people and what you're up against out there, it's made me to what I am today. And when you get to this point, I believe a sheriff can be so much more in the community now. I believe he can bring everyone together. He can bring Mount House together, the school system, the court system, all our community leaders, the county commission. all the powers that be. I believe the sheriff has the power to do so much more today. He's got deputies to enforce the law. Get out there, be a community leader. Let's solve our problems in Fentress County. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now you will each have 2 minutes for a close. After we close, we're going to see with what time remaining we can ask some questions from the audience. So we'll start with Michael Bigfoot Reagan. You have 2 minutes for a close.
I'd like to thank everybody that has supported me when I got appointed sheriff. I'd like to thank everybody that supported me when I got elected in 18. And I'd like the outpouring of the support that I had when I got elected in 18. And that, the commission, they supported me 100%, helped me in every way they could. And we've done a lot of work, for the county to save the county a lot of money. We put out a big garden. That saves money when you don't have to buy it off the truck. Potatoes and corn and beans and tomatoes and peppers and squash, and we put all that stuff in the freezer besides we don't put the potatoes in there. But anyway, we put all that stuff in the up, and the staff, I can't say enough about my staff. It's starting at the front office and going to the back of the jail. I mean, everybody does a good job, and I just thanks for having us, and God bless.
Thank you. Now, back to good test.
I just want to thank
Helps if I turn on the microphone. Okay, go ahead.
I'd
Thank
like
you,
to
man.
thank the tag group for putting this on this evening. I'd like to thank all y'all for coming out and listening to us. I'm not going to blow my own horn up here. I have 32 years law enforcement experience, most of it right here in this county. I would appreciate your vote and support, but if you can't vote and support me, God bless you. Please get out and vote what's on your heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, Gary Goose Ledbetter. You have 2 minutes for a close.
Okay, I'll try to get back in what I forgot a minute ago when I ran out of time. The most important point I wanted to make of the night is our school resource officers. We have got to get back in our schools and train our young children to stay away from drugs. We'll never get ahead of it if we don't. If you did your research on the DARE program, the DARE program went bust in 1998. The DARE program was ineffective. That's why the DARE program is no longer being used. There's a couple of new programs I've looked into called Keeping It Real. That is where kids do the program, and it's for kids. They teach them about peer pressure and how they can turn down drugs and still stay friends with their friends. I also talked to one of my good buddies last night, an SRO officer, and there's a LEAD program, Law Enforcement Against Drugs. And that teaches kids about drugs through all ages of the community. So now we're to the point where I'll introduce you to Rambo. He's a good buddy of mine in Overton County. He's a very unique individual. He has a saying, let's boil it all down to gravy. So that's where we're at now. Let's boil it all down to gravy. What you have currently that you don't know about at the sheriff's office is you have a 25% shortfall in deputies. They're 25% down. You have over a 35% shortfall in correctional officers right now. That is not safe for your deputies, that is not safe for your sheriff's office, and it's not safe for your prisoners. The back door is still unlocked at the jail today after everything that's happened. You are not safe, folks. It's time that we can do better. I've got the leadership, training, experience, knowledge, the get up and go. I'm ready to go. We can do better, folks. Let's all get together, work together, and make this community better, because absolutely, we have got a long ways to go up, and we can do it. And if you ever want to change, and most of you that I've talked to do want change, right now is the time for real change. And it sounds like I've started my campaign rally early. You're invited tomorrow afternoon, 5 o'clock. Clark Range, South Fentress Park, 5 o'clock. Free food, free fun, free music, and we may solve the world's problems while you're there. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now, Rodney Insco, your 2 minutes for a close.
Hard act to follow. I've been all over this beautiful county. I've talked to some wonderful people. I've made some probably lifelong friends. And basically, just like Gary said, I'm hearing the same thing all over the county. People want to change. If that's the case, in the past 6 years, all three of these gentlemen sitting here beside me have held some sort of leadership position in that sheriff's department. All three of them have had the opportunity to make the changes they're running their campaigns on. Nobody ever made any changes. Nobody ever attempted to make any changes. If you're looking for a real change, a true change for that sheriff's department here in Fentress County, I'm the only one running that'll bring a true change. So if you don't care, you get out and vote, exercise your constitutional rights to vote. Let's make a change for the county. My name's Rodney Insco, and I'd appreciate your vote.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. We're going to go to a period now where I'm going to read some questions from the audience, and unless they're specific to one candidate, we're going to ask you to each comment on these questions. So we'll just start left to right each time, and I'll go with Rodney. And the first question is going to be SROs, school resource officers, are directing traffic instead of in the schools. Can you change this? This question came via the internet as people are watching this question and answer period.
Yeah, the sheriff would have the authority to change that, especially with the shootings that have been taking place. It probably wouldn't hurt to pull an officer, excuse me, off of the road long enough to help with traffic and let the school resource officers stay in the school. So, yeah, I'd say that'd be something that could be looked into and probably done.
Okay, thank you. Mike Reagan, SROs are directing traffic instead of in the schools. Can you change this?
Well, they direct it from about 7:30 till 8. Obviously, they don't know how busy it is. It's hard to pull somebody off the road to direct school. Now in the city, we could let the city, direct the traffic. But in the county, like Clark Range, or Saller, we don't have to fool with it directing because they got two ways in and out there. But Clark Range and South Fentress, they'd have to be somebody up there to direct traffic. But, it's when you got two working on days, it's hard to, if they're answering calls, they can't just pull off a call and go up there and direct traffic.
All right, next, Max Goodpaster. School resource officers are directing traffic instead of in the schools. Can you change this?
It could be changed. It's a matter of manpower. It's like the sheriff said. Most of the time right now, you've got one on each end of the county. And if it's busy, it's like I said, you can't pull them off a call. The SROs on the south end, I know them both. They're both good men. I think they both do a good job at school zone. Might get there just a little bit earlier, but that's something to talk about later on. It can be dealt with, but it's like the sheriff said, it's a thing of manpower. If you can, yes, by all means. Well, the deputy, so the SRO can be in the school as much as possible.
All right, thank you. Gary Goose Ledbetter, the question goes to you. SROs are directing traffic instead of in the schools. Can you change this?
There's currently a program in Putnam County that's been going on for years, and basically they leave their school resource officers in their schools. They have volunteers that come out to each of their schools each morning, and they wear the reflective vest, and they have the proper hardware and things like that. And they come out and they actually direct traffic in Putnam County to all their schools where the school resource officers are not tied up doing that task. Obviously, that's a pretty big undertaking. You would have to have 6 individuals in the morning, 6 individuals in the afternoon. So you'd have to have quite a few people to do that. And while I've been going all over this county campaigning, there is a tremendous amount of former law enforcement officers in Fentress County that have moved here. And they have offered their services any means necessary. So that might be a good starting spot that we could actually do that. But that is one way that I can think of we could possibly get that taken care of.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. We'll start with the next question. It'll be for Rodney Insco. Are you willing to protect the citizens of Fentress County against the federal government should the need arise, i.e. gun confiscations, and would you enforce a mask mandate?
No. Yes, I would defend the people of Fentress County against the federal government. If I'm elected as your sheriff, guys, I work for you. You are my boss. You are the one that put me in office. I work for you. So yes, if the federal government come in here and tried to infringe on your constitutional rights, absolutely, absolutely, 100%, I would stand between you and the federal government. And no, the mask mandate's ridiculous. That's so last year, you know.
Thank you. Next is Mike Bigfoot Reagan. Are you willing to protect the citizens of Fentress County against the federal government should the need arise? For example, gun confiscation, and would you enforce any mask mandates?
Absolutely. When you take an oath, you take an oath to protect the people of the county. I guess they just have to put me in jail if they's going to try to make me take somebody's gun, because I'm not taking nobody's gun, and I'm sure not making nobody wear a mask. Of course, I know in these big cities they might make you do it, but not in Fentress County.
Okay. And what about the mask mandates? Would you enforce those?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Thank you. And next, Max Goodpaster, are you willing to protect the citizens of Fentress County against the federal government should the need arise? For example, gun confiscation, and how would you enforce the mask mandate if so asked of you by the federal government?
As far as the mask mandate, no, sir. No, none whatsoever. I think that's people's choice. As far as the federal government, many years ago, I took an oath. I took 2 oaths when I joined the military and when I joined the police department to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and the state of Tennessee. And that's against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And domestic enemy could be your federal government to come in and try to take your guns. No, sir, they'll have to come through me to get to you. Thank you.
Thank you. And Gary Goose Ledbetter, are you willing to protect the citizens of Fentress County against the federal government should the need arise? For example, gun confiscation, and would you enforce a mask mandate?
Obviously, I protect your rights to have your guns because we live in the deep South. We talked about this before. If you don't have a gun, you should have a gun. So everybody knows that each candidate up here, I don't think this is a big thing of contention. We will all protect your rights for gun control and all your other rights for that matter. And obviously, I would not support any mask mandate or any of those other silly things that just doesn't make any sense for our citizens, because the way they do things in Washington and New York and California, I guess to put it countrified, they just don't work down here. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next question, this will be for Rodney Insko. In your opinion, what should be done to protect our children in public schools?
As far as the sheriff's department's concerned, I mean, we're doing a pretty good job at protecting our children. We've got school resource officers in the schools, so you know, as far as a law enforcement point of view, unless we, well, let me back up just a second. Actually, something was offered to me, and I wasn't going to bring it up, but this is a good opportunity to bring it up. I've got a friend in Texas. He has called me. They've got 2 bomb-sniffing, gun-sniffing dogs. I don't know a whole lot about it. He asked me if I got sheriff, if I would be interested in taking those dogs. It'd be free to the county, and there's a grant that will pay $50,000 a year to use those dogs, as long as we use those dogs. So that might be something worth looking into. And I put a call into him to ask, because just in case I don't win the election, I would still like Fentress County to benefit from that. So as far as I know, I think that offer would stand no matter who becomes your next sheriff. So that would be something we might look into to run through the schools, maybe once a week or something. But
Okay, thank you. Mike Bigfoot Reagan, in your opinion, what should be done to protect our children in public schools?
Well, you know, we've got the SROs, and I would think probably on down the road, maybe not right now, or maybe not the next 2 years or something. But I would think that they will probably be, in fact, the business we talked about it a little bit, putting a thing up there like where everybody walks through, just like if you're in the getting on the airplane or coming through the Justice Center, and you would walk through this metal detector that, and I think it'd be a good thing for if the school had one of them myself.
Okay. Thank you. And Max Goodpaster, in your opinion, what should be done to protect our children in public schools?
I think the SROs we have now are good. They're in the school, they interact with the kids well. But I think every deputy at that sheriff's department needs to have a good working knowledge of every school in this county. If that SRO gets in the back of the school and God forbid something bad happens and another deputy rolls up, he's not going to go which hallway to go to. And then it's going to take precious time away while he's trying to figure out where he's at. I think that would help a lot if every deputy had a good working knowledge of every school in the county.
Thank you. And Gary Goose Ledbetter, in your opinion, what should be done to protect our children in public schools?
Well, like everyone said, we have a school resource officer in every school. That's great. I'm glad the county commission did that because it was well needed. But we can do more. You have to go to in-service every year. You have to do your 40 hours in-service. Obviously, we need to be doing a lot more than that. We need to be doing more training with all our officers. And to expound a little bit on what Max said, it's great to go walk through the schools and everything like that, but you should have training in the schools. Every deputy should have required training in each school in case something severe did happen, such as an active shooter. While I've been on the campaign trail, I was approached and the guy said, you don't even need a school resource officer because school shootings don't happen in Tennessee. Well, unfortunately, we're ranked 10th in the nation. We're tied with Georgia for 10th in the nation since 1972 with the most school shootings in America, which puts us in the top 20% of school shootings in America. So they do happen in Tennessee. We are very fortunate ones not happen here, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be ready for it. So we have got to train for that eventual situation, and that's the only way we can be prepared.
Thank you, gentlemen. The next question is to Rodney Insko. And how will you protect female inmates in jail or transport during
Jail or transport? As far as our local inmates, you can send 2 officers to transport, correction officers, that is, maybe a certified officer and a correction officer. You could do that to protect them on the road. As far as inside the jail, I'm not sure how, you've got, 3 or 4 correction officers back there, so I'm not real sure how this jail works up here. I'm not in the back there. So I don't know how that's working up there.
Okay, thank you. Mike Bigfoot Reagan, how will you protect female inmates in jail?
Well, there's always got to be a female. Whether when the female comes in, they always have to be female dressed her out. And we've got females that works there, that takes care of the females. As far as transporting, if somebody arrests a female and brings to jail, they call the mileage in when they leave the scene, and they call their mileage in when they get to jail, and the times is logged down. Mm-hmm. If you're going to transport one to Moccasin Bend or somewhere in another part of the county, or not necessarily another part of the county, or maybe taking somewhere to another jail, there needs to be a female officer with the male deputy, or the female officer is the one doing the transportation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Max Goodpaster, how will you protect female inmates in jail or during transport?
There needs to be a female there at all times. If a female is arrested and brought in, there needs to be a female there to church her or whatnot whenever she comes in. There needs to be a female there to take care of them in the cells. And definitely, like the sheriff said, on a transport, there needs to be a female there. If you've not got one working, call one in. I mean, that's what they work there for. Keep a female at all times. Keep a female with your females at all times. Document everything. Make sure they never get out of camera view. But make sure you have a female there at all times.
Okay, thank you. And Gary Goose Ledbetter, how will you protect female inmates in jail or during transport?
Well, the sheriff's office currently has 24 slots for correctional officers. They currently have 15 working. So obviously the first thing you have to do is get a full staff, which can be accomplished. With good leadership and a good place to work, you can get a full staff there. You need to have a good mixture of males and females. It's quite simple. You send a female on a transport, you send a female to transporter. And as the sheriff did say, you know, obviously you would never have a male correctional officer searching a female inmate, stripping them down, things like that you have to do when they come in jail. And speaking of jail, it's an $11 million jail. They've got cameras all over the place up there. There's probably a few hidden spots, but for the most part, there are cameras all over the jail if they're operational. You've got a person that sits in this control room, and he sees all the cameras in the jail, and he also can lock and unlock any door that he wants to inside that jail at any time. So get you a good staff, train your staff, and then if your staff does make a mistake, you have to correct that mistake, and you have to make sure that it doesn't happen in the future. And it could happen that you could very easily take care of the female inmates. I'm not saying it'd be a perfect world. I'm not saying there might be mistakes, but if there is mistakes, you have to correct them, and you got to take care of it, and you got to make sure they don't happen over and over again. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question to Rodney Insko. Speaking of staffing, is staffing where it should be? If not, how would you correct this?
Just like Gary said, need to get a full staff at the sheriff's department. Just got to have good leadership and have some job fairs and stuff, and recruit some of the younger people coming up out of high school. Get them into the workforce there. But good leadership would be a lot easier to get your staff built back.
Thank you. And for Mike Bigfoot Reagan, is staffing where it should be? If not, how would you correct this?
Well, you got to get applications first. You got to get somebody to put application in. I mean, you just can't hire just anybody. You know, you got to have somebody that likes to do the job. I mean, before they got the raise, they could go to McDonald's and make more than they could up there working. But it's not just staffing here; it's staffing all over the country. I wish we had a full crew, up there. But you get somebody trained in, they go somewhere else and go to work. You do the best you can do. Thank you.
Thank you. And Max Goodpaster, is staffing where it should be? If not, how would you correct this?
You have to set the example as a leader. You have to have good leadership underneath you. You have to find people that actually want to work. I mean, it's pretty bad nowadays. Some people just don't want to work, and sometimes they are hard to find. But if you look hard enough, and if you talk enough, and your people talk enough, you can find enough good quality people to staff the jail. And if you treat them right and you take care of them, then they will stay with you. Thank you.
Thank you. And Gary Goose Ledbetter, is staffing where it should be? If not, how would you correct this?
Well, obviously, we already talked about the staffing issues at the sheriff's office, and I already spoke, and I would invite you tonight to Google it when you get home and look at the top 10 reasons people quit their job. It's not about money, folks. People do not quit their jobs for money in large part. They do not do that. I currently have several folks, good, honest law enforcement officers right now, trained law enforcement officers that have committed to come and work for me if I get sheriff, because they're excited about working for a good sheriff. They're excited to come home. They're excited of the things that we can actually accomplish here. And I currently work at Overton County right now. We have a full staff down there. We have a very good sheriff down there. We have a full staff, folks. It can be done. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is to Rodney Insko. What is your position on pursuing Tennessee law enforcement accreditation through CALEA.
I'm not really familiar with it. I'm not familiar with what you're talking about.
Okay. Accreditation, I believe, of the sheriff's department is what they're talking about. I don't know if that question was asked here, if anybody cares to add to it, but. Okay. Mike Reagan, do you have any comment on it?
I don't have a clue what you're talking
It
about.
says, what is your position on pursuing Tennessee law enforcement accreditation or accreditation through CALEA?
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Okay. Max Goodpaster.
There are some departments around us that have been accredited through CLIA. It would just take actually contacting CLIA, sitting down with them, and finding out what steps you have to take to get this accreditation, and then continue those steps to actually keep it. It is a good tool. It's federally recognized, and it could bring a lot of resources back into the department that would really help the citizens.
Okay. And Gary Goose Ledbetter, what is your position on pursuing Tennessee law enforcement accreditation or accreditation through CALEA?
It's obviously a great idea, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you a lie. It would be a very big undertaking in Fentress County to get that accomplished. There's so many hoops you have to go through. Your standards have to be so much higher, and you have to continually keep it updated and everything like that. It's a very big undertaking. Cookeville City Police has it, but as far as I know, I think they're about the only one around this area that does have it. Of course, they have a lot more resources than we have in Fentress County. I'm not saying that it can't be done, but I'll be honest with you, it would be a very huge undertaking for Fentress County to ever meet that standard. It was obviously something I could look at, and once you get your full staff and get up and running, you could actually check into that. And obviously you can get more grants, and a lot of things can come to your department if you can get accredited. But it'd be a tall task here in Fentress County. Not to say that it couldn't be done, but it would be a tall task. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, gentlemen, the next question, Rodney Insco. Recently, some concerned citizens started the Fentress County Prevention Coalition, which is dedicated to working on the prevention of substance abuse in the county. What role do you see for the Sheriff's Department in this prevention program?
Oh, I'm definitely for that program. I think the Sheriff's Department, not only does it need the help from the citizens in the county, it needs help from like Manor House and that group you're talking about there. So yeah, it would definitely be something that the Sheriff's Department would be involved in because the drug problem is a serious problem. You know, like I said before, you can arrest the street level drug dealer and there's another one right in his place. We do have a problem with drugs in this county. So any help would be beneficial to Fentress County at this point.
Okay, thank you. Mike Bigfoot Reagan, recently some concerned citizens started the Fentress County Prevention Coalition, which is dedicated to working on the prevention of substance abuse in the county. What role do you see for the Sheriff's Department in this prevention program?
Well, we need, we need a lot of help. Of course, the public can help a lot. The Manor House up there, Billy Webb, does an excellent job. Definitely need to be, and I guess, I know when they stay in jail up there, and if, when they get out, they're sober, they're dried out. They come in weighing 90 or 100 pounds and leave weighing 170 or 80 pounds. But they need somewhere that they can go and stay in a program to get where they can be, to stay off of drugs. Because when you get out of jail and you've been on drugs, you cannot go back to running with the same people you was running with. You have got to stay away from them. They need to be some kind of program, to where they can stay off the drugs.
Okay, thank you. Next question to Max Goodpaster. Recently, some concerned citizens started the Fentress County Prevention Coalition, which is dedicated to working on the prevention of substance abuse in the county. What role do you see for the Sheriff's Department in this prevention program?
I think the Prevention Coalition is actually one of the best groups that could have ever been started. I worked with the coalition in Jackson County years ago, and they've done a lot of good. I think the Sheriff's Department role there would be whatever that coalition needs, whether it be volunteers, whether it be coming and helping with building or whatever it is, helping set up different places for the guys to stay, for the men and women to stay if they need it. Whatever the coalition needs, I think the Sheriff's Department should try their best to meet whatever needs they can possibly help them with.
All right, thank you. Gary Goose Ledbetter, recently some concerned citizens started the Fentress County Prevention Coalition, which is dedicated to working on the prevention of substance abuse in the county. What role do you see for the Sheriff's Department in this prevention program?
Well, I'm actually a member of the Fentress County Prevention Coalition. I got in on the ground floor when it first began. I've been to every meeting except one since then. And actually what I found out was part of the thing I was talking about a few minutes ago about my eyes being open. It's one of the best things and the best groups I've ever been involved in, and I'm so glad that I did it. We've already been discussing these problems, and we've already been discussing solutions about how we can get this done if I'm elected sheriff. Like I said, Brother Billy Webb called me just this week. He was so excited about a new program that they're trying to start right now, where they have mental health professionals and himself and other folks. They have got so many trained people over there, and they've got so many people they can call at a moment's notice. They can get to these people on the ground floor when they come into jail and maybe affect them when they actually do want help. Because I'm a realist, I know we're not going to save them if they don't want help, but we have got to save the ones that we can save. And I've been in those from the ground floor. Fentress County Prevention Coalition is basically hand in hand with Manor House. They all work together. I've been with them since day one. Well, I'm sorry, second meeting. I didn't know about the first meeting, but I've been with them since the second meeting last fall, and it's been up and running now about 10 months. So we've already been discussing some of these things and some of the ways that we can have answers to some of the problems we have in our community. Thank you.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. The next question, Rodney Insko. If elected, what is on the top of your list to improve the department, and how would you do it?
On top of my list is to, I guess, get everybody on the same page. This sheriff's department has always been kind of split. You've got a clique, and then you've got the rest of everybody else. I want to put a stop to that. I want to get everybody on the same page, everybody working together, everybody focused towards the same goal. And I want to get the sheriff's department out in the residential areas where you guys are at. That is a big priority of mine. If I'm elected sheriff, I'm going to zone the county into 4 zones, and I'm going to put an officer in each zone. I'm going to do it no matter what it takes, because I think that is a big issue with the county. The best proactive law enforcement tool we have is a marked patrol car, and if you've got a marked patrol car in the area where you live, your house is less likely to be broke into. If a criminal sees a marked patrol car, he's going to move on instead of waiting for that marked patrol car to leave the area. So I think just getting the department together, united as a team, as a family, and then focusing on the security of the county. Thank you.
And thank you. And next is Mike Bigfoot Reagan. If elected, what is on the top of your list to improve the department, and how would you do it?
Well, I've got, I don't know, about 5 or 6 deputies short, but I've got 2 going to the academy. They're leaving Sunday. If I could ever get enough deputies, to have where I could have 3 deputies on every shift, that would be, and they work 12-hour shifts. They work 6 of the morning, 6 of the evening, put 3 on days and 3 on nights. That way, when one's on the south, one's on the north, and one's in the middle of floating, and one of them, if the one in the middle needs to go south or north, he can to help the other one on the call. Domestics is really a bad thing. You can see what happened in Kentucky, and they really need to be 3 officers, working every shift if not more, if we could have them. So far, I think we've done the best we could do with what we've had to do with, and but you just gotta hire the right people.
Okay, thank you. Next, Max Goodpaster. If elected, what is on the top of your list to improve the department, and how would you do it?
Top of my list would be to find professional, well-trained people to staff the department with. If you find professional, well-trained, and keep their training up, and I'm going to steal from Gary there for a minute, but more training. They need more training, as much as you can get. I mean, you can never have too much training. You learn something every day, and that helps better to protect the people in the county. And it's like Sheriff Reagan said, if you could have at least 3 on every shift, 1 on each end and 1 in the middle, that would help that much too. And maybe down the road, if you could get it done to get 1 more on each rotation, have 1 swinging back and forth between both shifts, that would give you 4 at your peak times. That would be that, and some better equipment, better vehicles. Again, if you take care of your people, they're going to take care of you. Well, that would be my main thing there. Thank you.
Thank you. Gary Goose Ledbetter. If elected, what is on the top of your list to improve the department, and how would you do it?
Well, the obvious answer is you have to start with your command staff. You have to start with your chief deputy. You have to start with, if you have majors or sergeants or however you structure your sheriff's office, you have to have a good command staff that can carry out the wishes of the sheriff. Obviously, the sheriff can work all day, all night, but he's got to have someone underneath him that knows what they're doing. I have several individuals that have already committed, well-trained individuals that have already committed to be my command staff. So that part is taken care of. Then obviously we talked about staffing issues. That's going to go a long way in getting me up to my goal of where I want to be for a full staff. The zone thing, I talked about it months ago, but you have budget limitations to that. And if you had checked your budget, you would know that even at full staff right now, the sheriff's office would not have 4 deputies on each shift. The best they could do at full staff would be 3 deputies on each shift. So you would have to break your county up into 3 zones. So, which would still be a lot better than we have now because they are so understaffed. So you have to start with your command structure. You got to hire good people. You got to train them. You got to keep them. And then you can do some damage out here. Then you can start the programs after that you want to implement. Then you can start your extra patrol. Then you can see your cars in your neighborhoods. And you can get some things accomplished that you want to get accomplished if you get off on the right foot. Thank you.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Then the next question kind of continues this discussion. So, Rodney Insco, in your role as sheriff, do you see any scenario in the future when you would bolster staffing using reserve deputies in a paid capacity for patrol staffing or special events?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we've got the room to have a resource position at the sheriff's department. I know we used to have it. Back long ago, we used to have reserve deputies that helped with the fair and certain events throughout the county. So yes, that would definitely be something that I would be interested in bringing back. And I've had some retired law enforcement and some retired military contact me, and I've kind of started a list of people I would be interested in putting in positions like that. And not only for like the fairs and stuff like that. Good Lord willing, if something major happened to this country and we had to stand up, I would like to know I had some people out here that was ready to grab their guns and stand up with me. So absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Mike Reagan, in your role as sheriff, do you see any scenario in the future when you would bolster staffing using reserve deputies in a paid capacity for patrol staffing or special events?
Yes, I've got 2 reserve deputies at this time, but the gentleman I talked to today asked me if the reserve deputies gets paid. No, they don't get paid. They volunteer their time. Actually, he's talking about, of course, that was in California. But anyway, the reserve program would be good as far as ball games, to the fairgrounds. It would be a good thing, and it would help the county sheriff tremendously.
Okay, thank you. Max Goodpaster, in your role as sheriff, do you see any scenario in the future when you would bolster staffing using reserve deputies in a paid capacity for patrol staffing or special events?
Yes, I would. I absolutely would. Granted, they can meet the post requirements because they all still have to go through the post commission. There is so much training they have to take that first year, and then they have to take the same training regular officers do 40 hours every year after that. But I would definitely be good to start a reserve force.
Okay, thank you. Gary Goose Ledbetter, in your role as sheriff, do you see any scenario in the future when you would bolster staffing using reserve deputies in a paid capacity for patrol staffing or special events?
Well, obviously, the reserve officers do not get paid. That's how the program works. They do not currently get paid. They do have to go through the same amount of training yearly that the regular officers have to go through, so they would be required to do that. If we did start a program where they would get paid, we would have to go in front of the county commission to get funding for that. I would not be opposed to that at all, obviously, because we do have a treasure trove in Fentress County of retired former law enforcement officers. And the ones I've talked to that live here locally all their life, and the ones that I've talked to that moved in here, they all seem to have a clear head. They all seem to be here for the right reason, and they all seem to really want to help their community out. So obviously, that's a resource we can tap into. I will tap into it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. The last question, I'm told this will be the last question because everybody's hungry. So, Rodney Insko, if red flag laws are implemented, do you feel an obligation to enforce them?
No.
Same, Mike Reagan, if red implemented, do you feel an obligation to enforce them?
Absolutely not.
Max Goodpaster, if red flag laws are implemented, do you feel an obligation to enforce them?
No, sir, in no way but that. Shape, form, or fashion.
Okay, and Gary Goose Ledbetter, if red flag laws are implemented, do you feel an obligation to enforce them?
If I said yes right now, that'd be a shocker, wouldn't it? No, sir, I would not enforce.
I wouldn't say yes.
No, sir, I would not enforce red flag laws.
Well, that concludes our question and answer forum. I want to thank all my fellow deputies, officers, police, whatever you want to call it. It depends on what area you live in. But it's an honor to sit here and have a discussion, and I hope our folks out there appreciated it. So that'll conclude. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all of them. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate all the candidates. It's been very informative. I hope y'all have enjoyed it. I hope it's been informative to you. There's some food in the other room. We hope you'll join us.